Hi, greetings. It's me, Dr. Paul Gerhardt, and I want to talk about some key lessons in human relations. As you know, everything is related to human relations. Our success, according to some of the experts, 85% or greater, is related to having effective human relations skills. I'll say that one more time. 85% or greater of your career success is related to your ability to have effective human relations. So, after teaching this human relations course and leadership for over 15 years, there are a lot of lessons that I've learned in interacting with people from all around the United States from every different walk of life. One, everything is in our heads. That's perception. And we see the world as we are, not as it necessarily is. And we can't control what other people think about us, but we can help manage their perceptions. And that's an important concept. Making a good, positive first impression is really important. How you carry yourself, how you dress, looking people in the eye, learning their names, showing them that they really are important people to you. There's a lot to be said about showing people respect. You may have heard me say that the golden rule is BS. The golden rule says do unto others as you want them to do unto you. I think that's one of the problems with us in the United States is we think it's all about us very often, and that's kind of our upbringing. But if we really understood that, yes, we're very important, but the other person is important too, and they are not us. I'm sure that everybody has some kinds of similarities, even if you grew up in the same household as them. But they'll also have very distinct differences. And if you are making them play by your rules as it relates to relationships and understanding, then you may have the wrong rule book that could be negatively affecting your relationships. There's an interesting phenomenon that when you have a new coworker or even a new relationship at home or in your personal life, you fall in love with the person, or you think the person is great because you're hiring the best candidate, or you're meeting a significant other that you're starting to get to know, and everything is just great because their differences are kind of exciting and they probably like some of the same things as you. But then as time goes on, you start to realize that they're human, and because they're human, they have natural differences. They see things differently than you. And it's kind of wrong to be assuming that you are right and they are wrong, or that your perspective is better than their perspective. This is why we learn that differences give us more options and help us to see things differently. And those differences bring more creativity and more options into situations. So you got to learn how to manage those differences. And because you're your own brand manager, you have to make sure that when you're first meeting people that you make a good first impression. It's the first impressions that are going to matter most. But as you learn to manage those first impressions, you also have to learn how to manage the relationships that you're in. And that means everybody is different, and therefore you have to get to know them with effective communication. And that means really listening to them and watching the body language and recognizing that our body language and our way of being and how we choose to say things and what we say to things can affect relationships, because relationships truly are fragile. I'll say that again. Relationships are fragile. You need to treat them like gold. We need other people in order to expand our careers and expand our perceptions of how things are. We don't know everything, and how we believe things to be may not be the full picture. So if you think about a house and all four walls, that roof is going to be a lot more solid when there are four strong walls that each have their own very different perspective. They're all part of a house and they all contribute to the overall outcome of the house. But not one wall is more important than the others, even though those walls may be very different and very similar in the same way. So really recognizing that we need to respect people from their perspective is important. Get to know people. Recognize how our communication style may be shutting people down and may not allow others to interact with us as freely. Being non-judgmental is really a key focus. If we're constantly telling people, you should do this, or why would you do that, we're being judgmental and we're limiting our communications with other people. So being open, being non-judgmental, you can wonder why people do things one way, but how you communicate your query into why they do things is important. So be soft and kind in your interaction with people. Ask questions. That's interesting. Can you tell me more about that? I really want to know. When people say, when you bump into somebody and you say, hi, how are you? And they say, I'm not good, or I'm doing bad, or I'm having a bad day, don't just walk by and say, that's nice. Really get to know them. So I guess when I say, even though I know your mommies and daddies and pastors or aunts and uncles may have told you that the golden rule is the way to live your life, I'm not saying they're bad people, but consider the impact if you are treating people the way you want to be treated. They're different than you. You can't assume they like the same things as you because they couldn't possibly be the same as you, and that's why people get hurt in relationships. The platinum rule really is the most important rule out there. Treat people as they wish to be treated. Pretty simple, and it makes good sense, but it really requires that you get to know the other person. I also like to talk about emotional intelligence. Everything is related to our choices. It's not your boss's fault that some situations happen to you, your mommy or daddy's fault, or your friend's fault. We need to take responsibility for our own actions because we choose things. Sometimes we choose not to be assertive in our communications with other people, and we allow ourselves to be victims of circumstances. Stop doing that. That's not going to serve you well. Manage your emotions. Blowing up and getting angry in situations is just going to cause damage to relationships. You can't undo harming other people. You can't undo being disrespectful to other people. Because even though they may outwardly forgive you for having a bad day or jumping to conclusions, they will always remember how you made them feel. And Maya Angelou said that, and I love that saying because it really is true. We don't always remember the words people say to us, but we'll always remember how people make us feel. And so being emotionally intelligent really requires that when something happens, you need to stop and think about how you're going to react, who you're talking to, and think about the impacts and consequences of your actions. Choose to create win-win situations with every interaction with other people's, and I know that's not always easy. That means stopping and thinking. What would be a win for them? How can I make sure they know that I'm being supportive and I'm thinking about what's important to them? You may have to ask. And two, it's got to be a win for you too, because if it's a lose, then you're not going to be happy and you're not going to feel good about the relationship. So that's why assertiveness is so important in relationships. Take responsibility for your own actions. State how you feel about things in an open, non-judgmental way. You may be surprised at how this creates discussions that create value in your relationships with other people. We're allowed to make mistakes. It's part of being human, but we always need to own our own mistakes. when you do make a mistake with other people, you have to make a sincere apology. And there's kind of a simple formula for making an apology. One, you got to recognize with specific terms what you did wrong. Use their name. Cindy, I'm sorry that I blew you off the other day when you really needed my time. Two, you need to have empathy and show the impact. I want you to know that probably hurt your feelings because you've been nothing but respectful to me, and I know how important our relationship is to you. Three, I'm very sorry. Will you please accept my apology? And so you got to give them the choice. And I recommend that you be brief. You can't justify what you did. You know, sometimes justifying what you did can make things worse. Just leave it brief. I'm sorry that I blew you off, or I'm sorry that I was judgmental to you. I know how harmful that could be, and that we're all sensitive about, you know, our actions to each other. Please forgive me. Will you forgive me? And you got to give them the choice to forgive you. You know, if you are just saying, well, I was just having a bad day, so I'm really sorry about that. Probably not very sincere. Just forgive me. Come on. You know, it's really, you're kind of bullying them into it. So you have to be assertive. You can't be passive aggressive in things, and people need to be shown respect in ways where they will feel respected. You know, this feeling of empathy is one of the best things that we can do. We really have to communicate in a way where we show that we're understanding how other people are feeling. And it's very good if we can look at their emotions from their physical body language and say, you look like you're really sad about that. Would you like to talk about it? And then paraphrasing back to them, it sounds like you feel hurt that when we were talking that I didn't consider your feelings. I apologize. I should have considered your feelings. This is what I heard you say. You know, and paraphrase it back in their own words. There's a lot of power in having mutual understanding and really taking the time to show another person that you understand where they're coming from by paraphrasing it back is key. Don't just say, yeah, I understand, or yep, I understand, thank you. That's not necessarily showing that you have true understanding. And when they say, yep, I got it, that doesn't mean that they understand you. You know, get them to paraphrase things back from you. Communication is the most important skill that we have as humans. We don't read minds, but we do need to practice effective communication. And the number one skill, of course, of effective communication is listening deeply and then paraphrasing back and showing that we understand. So, know your communication style. Some people communicate more assertively than others. And when you have people who communicate, say, in the style of what I like to call the tiger style, and you have someone who is maybe more of a rabbit or a turtle in their communication style, that may be doing harm to a relationship. You emulate the way that people communicate. Recognize another person's communication style and recognize that the way that you communicate may be putting up walls in your communication with other people. You got to bring positive self-esteem into every situation. Know your own value. Nobody makes you feel any way. You choose to give people power to make you feel the way that you do. You are awesome the way you are. You're the only person that can shape your own character, and it's your daily habits and the way you see things that affects the way that you are with other people. So if you could take a look at openly of things that may not be serving you well, belief systems, and recognizing your own value and how you treat other people as it relates to your interaction with them, that really can have a big impact on people. So recognizing that you are awesome. 2, smile and listen to other people and recognize that they're awesome too. They matter. 3, show that you understand people and you want to get to know them, and they are the most important person in that moment when you're communicating with them. You get to choose your own attitude. How you see things affects what you do, which affects what you get. So if you see someone as not as smart as you, you're probably treating them that way. Or you see someone as inferior than you, you're probably treating them that way, and they're perceiving that. If you treat them like a brother or sister that you truly respect as an equal, you're probably going to get more out of that relationship with that other person. If they're your boss, they have the right to tell you what to do. But you can help your boss be a better boss by being assertive in your language with them and respectful. So you have to balance respect and assertiveness in what you say. It's not what you say, but how you say things that matters most. And you need to make sure that you are a person of your word and you're doing what's expected of other people, what's expected of you by other people. So if you promise to do something, fulfill that promise. Be open and honest if you can't do it, but only commit to things that you can do. And if you're a member of a team, you have to be a good teammate, and sometimes you have to flush out the actions and thoughts and ideas of other people. What do you think about that, Bill? I haven't heard from Jason yet. Jason, can you share your ideas with us? What's important here? So, create a plan of action to help shape your character. You shape your character through the habits that you choose to do each day. If you are feeling like a fish swimming upstream, and life is hard for you, it's probably because your human relation skills have opportunities for you. Learn to build better relationships. People want to do good in your life, and nobody wants to have a bad relationship with other people. Be quick to forgive people wholeheartedly. Be quick to be open to building relationships with other people and building your own brand. We need other people to help us accomplish our goals. We don't know everything, and the insights of other people are easier to gain when we have positive relationships that we have earned. Trust is the glue of relationships. We're always testing the trust of others in our interactions with them. Don't violate trust, build trust, and recognize that trust is something to be cherished and it must be earned. You may be a supervisor and given power over somebody, but it's a lot better when you earn their hearts and their minds, because then you have their hands and their feet for action, and you may get more creativity when people feel empowered to share their insights openly. Everybody's intelligent and everybody has something to contribute. So what is your plan of action to shape your character, shape your ideas, and gain the best out of human relationships? We all matter, but it's up to you to create a plan of action and implement it each day to create a life and a career that you truly love. Thank you so much for your valuable time. I'm Dr. Paul Gerhardt. Have a great day. You get to choose.